Hey everybody, welcome back to Byte Club, the monthly indie game club podcast. I'm your host, Nevin.
Yeah, it's me, the other host, Jesse.
Damn, we got who's that talk show host that talks like that? I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm normal still. Hello. I don't know what that was.
Hi. That was a weird energy to bring. This month we're talking about Chris Ligman's You Are Jeff Bezos.
That's not. Is that how you say it?
Jeff Bezos?
Oh no, yeah. You didn't say Bezos. You know what you did.
Jeff Bezos?
There you go. There you go.
Hef Bezos.
Yeah.
So there aren't really like spoilers for this game apart from like some of the gags that happen throughout it, but they're not what this game is about as a whole. So instead of spoilers after the break, we're going to do questions and further discussion, so stick around. As a brief little announcement before we really dig into this, it's been a year. This is the year. This episode is one whole ass year that we've been doing this.
Wish I had one of those party blowers. That would have been great. I'm gonna put that in post. How about? There we go.
Sweet. There we go. Just make that really loud and give it a little bit of echo.
You got it.
It'll be great. So that's it. Let's dig into this anti-capitalist masterpiece.
Hell yeah.
When you wake up this morning from unsettling dreams, you find yourself changed in your bed into a monstrous vermin. You are Jeff Bezos. And this is a fantastic 10-ish minute Twine game from Chris Ligman. And it really is just a fantastic... It's like equal parts teardown and analysis, I guess, of capitalism. And we're going to talk about it today. So first off, fuck capitalism.
Dude, no gods, no masters. You already know what it is.
No gods, no masters, only the bank.
Whoa, no banks either, dude. What the fuck? Those are the masters, dude.
Oh shit, you got it.
No, for real.
I was going for a
fuck
there are
capitalism,
no real
dude.
gods and no real masters. It's just the bank.
Actually, hold on. Capitalism's really cool. Okay, now that our bosses aren't listening, capitalism sucks.
One of my coworkers does listen to this podcast.
Oh, snap. All right, coworker, check it out.
Shout out, Jose.
Jose, look, capitalism sucks, dude.
You already know that I'm anti-capitalist until I'm not. Which is never. That's the joke.
Never. Oh. That's good.
All right, so that we got that out of the way. This game fucked me up in a way I did not expect to be fucked up by this game. Like when you're playing through it and you like see the numbers and like you check the sources and you're like, wow, this shit's accurate. It's a fucking doozy, man. It's
even crazier that it came out 2018, I think late 2018. So the numbers are accurate, but they're still less representative as they would be now. Like if you take the amount of time that this game came out in and, you know, add the difference to now, Jeff Bezos has significantly more money.
It came out almost a year ago. I'm looking at it right now. The 1.2 update in the development log was October 24th, 2018.
Wow.
Original release was on October 19th.
Jeez. So yeah, wow, about a year ago.
It's been almost a year, and this game is like disgustingly accurate still.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And I would almost say more upsetting. And I think the like beauty of it is that it is just a simple little game that you can play in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like if you're just doing one run through, you can do it in 10 minutes and get just as mad as you would in a longer game.
Definitely, yeah. If you haven't played a Twine game before, You Are Jeff Bezos is a Twine game. It's a game where you're basically clicking hyperlinks. It's sort of like a choose your own adventure game. Yeah. But in a web browser and with the interactivity and computerized sort of gameplay mechanics that you would see in a regular video game. It's something that allows itself to tell a story in a really interesting way, with you having some impact on that story, while also being able to use sort of, I guess, like computer adjacent elements like hyperlinks, or in some cases they'll use pop-ups like you see in different web browsers.
You can embed music and stuff like
Exactly.
that too.
So there's lots of ways of presenting a Twine game that isn't just always text, but in this case it is one where you're just reading a story and making choices, and that's perfectly fine. I think if anything, this game is better for being a Twine game, for being a game that is just about those interactions, because a lot of this stuff is hard to represent visually in a way that doesn't make it arcadey,
or in a way that wouldn't like take the piss out of what this game is about. You know,
Definitely.
like I feel like if there were little doodles of Mr. Beesborse, like paying for shit or like running from the cops in a bathrobe, it would, like, the way that it's written actually gives it a bit of like I was envisioning things as like almost noir at a point.
Yeah, like the game mocks a lot of these scenarios, and it points out the
Yes,
legitimacy of it.
fully.
But you're right in that, like, earlier you were talking about how your perception of some of these facts was just like mind-blowing once you found out they weren't just made up numbers, or they weren't just made up facts. They were legitimately true. Were there like some arcadey action numbers? It would have been funny from the perspective of like,
Haha, funny game.
yeah, exactly, being critical of games in a sort of tongue-in-cheek meta commentary sort of way. But by doing it more legitimately, just through the numbers, just through the text, you have to appreciate the legitimacy of the numbers, of the facts, of what you're seeing in front of you. It's not some funny joke. It is like legitimately, this is how screwed up it is. Yeah, I'm glad that this is a Twine game and not, something greater.
I feel like anything more would have distracted from it, and that's all there is to it.
Exactly, yeah.
Plus, just the way that after you finish a run of it, successful or not, right? Like you get a link to, seriously, the fact that the sources for these numbers is included
Yeah.
is so, and it's just right there. It's just credits, and you click it, and it's like 20 something links, all properly cited, of course. I love that. But it's fucking wild. It's wild. And it all started seriously as just like a joke. Like I found an article written by Chris. It's on VentureBeat, and they say, like, right off the bat, the game started as a joke, and it probably should have remained that way, but people made the mistake of encouraging me. I wrote it in 4 days. Bezos's money is measured. It goes into like the liquid currency stuff about the money.
Right.
Because like his assets, like, not all of his money is liquid, but they converted it to liquid assets because like we were talking about the number, the sheer number, just seeing that it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, yeah, so the thing that I think is really important about that aspect as well, of finding a way to mathematically show how much money he would have were it liquid, and not cut up in stocks or investments or, whatever the case may be, other businesses that they own. It's really good that there's that number so you can comprehend to what extent the wealth Jeff Bezos has access to is. Like, yeah, he can't take $120 billion out, but even if he has like 1% of that, like at a point in the game, you're spending that much money, or you're spending a ton of money solving a lot of problems, doing a lot of great things, but you're not even able to break the amount of money you spent, and you're still making significantly more than that in the amount of time it takes you to do those things. It's insane. It is insane how much money that man has. Like, I can't even comprehend it.
So there's a part where like you, like, at the very beginning you can choose to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you make like a shitload of money, and the game tells you in the 10 something minutes.
Yeah, you make something like $100,000.
Hang on, I think you took notes on this. In that 9 minutes, you, Jeff Bezos, made $540,000.
That's what it is.
Yeah, which is a much more upsetting number.
Yeah.
And like, think about that versus how long it takes you to play through this game. In the time it takes you to play through this game, Jeff Bezos, shithead multi-billionaire or whatever the fuck, makes $540,000, give or take.
Yeah, man. Wow.
You mad yet?
A little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too.
Growing up, we all kind of are presented with the concept of infinity. And, when you're young, you're like, yeah, infinity, it's just a lot.
Big.
It's just a lot. And then you grow up and you're like, oh, I understand the existentialism of life. I look at the moon and I'm like, wow, that's not close. That's really fucking far. Like, the fact that I can see that, it's crazy.
The fact that you will literally never set foot upon the moon.
Yeah, what even is infinity? I don't even know, dude. And then like also smaller numbers seem so large to us as we get older as well. Like 1,000 is really big, but $120 billion. I'm sorry, dude, but $120 billion. Once you break it down and start seeing what you could do with it, despite the fact that the game shows you things that cannot be done with that amount of money, $120 billion still feels like infinity. Like, it just feels like you never run out of money.
I would say honestly that like it feels like a bigger number than infinity because we can allocate things to it. We can give it a value beyond just this fake ass number. It is a real ass thing that is real, and it could fix these major problems.
Yeah.
And it just feels like such a huge number because it's quantifiable and qualifiable, not like infinity, which just goes on for like whatever. Fuck off. Time is an illusion. Infinity is not real. But then you look at this number and it's like, fuck, somebody has that.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, yeah, has that, but yeah, like has acquired enough wealth in whatever aspect you want to define that to be worth that much money. I think that's also a scary part of it as well, is that Jeff Bezos isn't just like in the possession of 120 billion or 150 billion or whatever dollars worth of stuff. It's the fact that at some point people worked for him and he now has that. It's not like he was given it like we are. He worked his way up to that. He wasn't like hugely rich from the start. The guy was, he wasn't exactly poor. He was, pretty upper middle class, doing pretty all right. Small load of $1 million. No, I mean, he worked out of his parents' garage, doing Amazon. It was just selling books. But that man worked his way up from that sort of very only slightly above average or above like well off position in his life and just kept going up. And like at no point was like, he wasn't already rich and became richer. It wasn't like an Elon Musk sort of thing where he acquired a bunch of money from his, apartheid supporting, or I guess anti-apartheid, whatever the word for that would be, parents. Jeff Bezos sort of worked his way up to this point with support from his parents, obviously, but worked his way up from a significantly lower point than most other billionaires and just like never stopped, just, I can't. Man, Steve Jobs, I guess, is the same sort of thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say. But
no, I mean, they all are hobbyist tech guys that are just working in their parents' garage, and they just work their way up to being billionaires. But with Bezos, it's stealing OSs, stealing systems, graphic user interfaces from other OSs, just stealing from workers, stealing from other creators, stealing from everyone.
Capitalism is theft.
Because that's what capitalists do. Yep, exactly. It's just crazy to me that they just, I don't know. Maybe like if I was in their shoes, who knows? I would like to think that I would be like, I've hit probably enough money to do whatever I want. Maybe other people should do that too. But man, I just can't, I can't fathom it. It just blows my mind just thinking about it.
It's fucked up. It's real fucked up. I kind of want to pick out a few things from these notes that you took because they're fucking fantastic. So like right off the bat, the game does not give you the option to like hoard or invest your money. And I noticed that when I came home for lunch to give it another run through, and like you can ask at the very beginning of the game, you can go, hey, why don't I like invest or save this or something like that? And the game says, no, you're not allowed to. You can argue against the game about that. It just says, no. Shut the fuck up. Spend his money. It's the only right thing to do. And
yeah,
I love that. I love it a lot.
Yeah, that's a real tone setter for the entire game. I think it's cool that in this, you're not presented with the possibility to do the thing that feels right, I guess, for some people. Like, there are going to be people that play this game and are offended by the concept of needing to spend all your money.
Well, the thing, like, I can kind of, I get that because, like, we are taught
save your money.
No, definitely. I
shove
mean,
a
that's a
little
great
away,
little
save
Dicky
it.
song, you know?
I understood that reference.
Oh, thanks, Cap. Uh, yeah, I think it's really cool that this game is about something. I that sounds really stupid, but I have a point. It's about a thing, you know? There's a lot of that, like, keep your politics out of my games from the hashtag gamers. And there's a lot of that, you know, ambivalence towards doing that sort of thing of saying something specific. But this game doesn't even let you try to say your own thing. It's, like, very clearly like, hey, no.
No,
Like,
it says no.
I'm not going to give you the space to maybe figure it out. I'm just going to sit you down and tell you, this is how it should be.
I fucking love that. I love the unabashed, fully confident, fuck this shit attitude that this game has. It is truly fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't give you space to make a decision that you know, that is very obviously against the concepts that it's trying to put across. It's not trying to give you the possibility space to make some ridiculous conclusion or come to it on your own, and then accidentally it, like, gives you the space to realize your truest dream of being a wealth-hoarding capitalist. Like, that is important, you know? When you have games that give you those sort of options, give you the space to make decisions, and they're like, we will prove that players would never do that. Like, you know, your BioShocks and your Mass Effects and all those games that were very concerned with binary choice in the mid-2000s, late 2000s.
Yeah, I love those. I love those yes or no morality meters.
Yeah, the ones that are like, are you gonna kill an entire planet or are you gonna save this little girl, dude? And it's like, one of them's good and one of them's bad. And we're like, well, the players aren't gonna pick the bad one, and then they do. And it's
They're,
like, oh, boy.
don't worry, we are gonna make a point with this game, and if you rescue this girl, you get less immediate currency, and it's scary.
But later you'll get more, and basically what we're saying is that citrism's good. Can you believe it? Video
games. Too afraid.
Really pushing the envelope.
Man,
Everyone's smart and right. Yeah. Capitalism's bad. That's the point
that's the
of the
whole
game.
point.
And it doesn't
shy away from
it
it.
sits you down and it tells you that. Exactly. It doesn't, you know, let you figure out that capitalism is good actually. It just sits you down and says, no, fucker.
Yep.
You better hate the rich.
Fucking eat them.
Yeah, there's speaking of things from the game
just
that
about
are just
to-
really
yeah.
good. Yeah. There's one really great bit of writing. After you spend a bunch of Bezos's money on stuff, there's a nice little quote. Good job decimating a rich man's wealth so far, by the way. You've gone from $156 billion to a mere billion, 880,540,000, and a few clicks of a button. If only you could manufacture guillotines this easily.
Fucking God, mood. Can we start a Kickstarter for just like a guillotine factory?
Can we start a gift?
Do you like the mixed messages there?
Can we start a Kickstarter?
Get through it. I believe in you.
No, that's it. That's all. Just can we start a Kickstarter? It's just all I need.
Kickstarter for Byte Club Season 2. We make guillotines now.
That's all it is. It's just making guillotines.
Every backer
the whole time.
of every backer at the $540,000 tier gets a free guillotine, signed by Jesse and myself.
And I will not spell my last name correctly a single time.
You also get a hidden note. You get a note hidden inside a secret compartment, like a puzzle box style, on the guillotine that includes the name of one rich person.
Dang.
Went there.
It's the same one every time.
It's always the same one. Well, it's like one of three.
When you think about it, really, all rich people are the same person.
It's true. It
doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't.
I don't know.
Well, I could spend some time reading into that if I read philosophy, but I don't.
Right. Really, we're all the same person, except for the capitalist pigs. They're different.
We're always dying.
So, yeah, You Are Jeff Bezos is extremely good. It's really funny. It's really, like you said, it's very short. It only takes about 10 minutes to play, but it's really funny. It's really inventive in the way that it allows you to approach the ideas that it has on offer. But it's also just like, it's refreshing, I feel like. And I talked about it earlier, but it's refreshing to play a game that just, like, knows what it wants to say and is saying it. It's not afraid. Of course, it's indie, so, and it's, you know, a Twine game made by one person, or I think it's just made
just
by one
Chris.
person. Just Chris Ligman, and just, you know, just done in such a smart way. It's fun to play something like that, you know, that isn't like, oh, are people gonna like this? Oh, is this saying the right thing? Man, fuck it, say what you want to say.
The people,
You know, it's good.
people who like the people who vibe with this sort of idea are going to be the people who play it, and that's that's really it. So there's actually a really great little tidbit on this article, like along those lines. So Chris really only expected like 5 people to play this,
Right.
and when talking about the response to it, which was apparently like crazy, like there are articles from fucking Vice, Motherboard, NPR, all sorts, even Newsweek cover this for whatever that counts.
Oh wow.
And they say, all I wanted is for my friends to be absurdly powerful. I think it speaks to how frustrated people are that the game exploded the way it did, but I don't believe it's simply because Bezos is easy to hate and everyone likes a good power fantasy. It's not that the Earth is crying out for a billionaire with a conscience, as though that could solve even a fraction of our problems. And goes on a little bit more and says, I believe You Are Jeff Bezos resonates because on some level most of us recognize that money is a shitty game we never asked to be opted into, and for as long as most of the world plays it, it's nearly impossible for any of us to opt out. And yeah, big fucking true. Like, that's it. That's exactly why this game, and that attitude in those like couple of paragraphs is throughout this entire game, unrestrained in the best way, and it helps that Chris is hilarious.
Yeah, for real. Like, goodness gracious, it's dark humor, but it's very well written, and it's just funny. It's just funny. Every single button click is just hilarity. At a point, you stop paying for things that are sort of expensive and helpful.
You can pay for just some goofy shit.
Yeah, like you just start paying for superfluous stuff just for the sake of it, because you're like, because I guess at that point you've solved the problems that you're kind of aware of, you know, or the ones that are the most pressing, I think, for most
depending
people.
on where you are in the because there is like an actual like meta plot to this, as you like try to run from the cops and hide in a coffee shop and stuff. So depending on like where you are in that arc, there's like different options that come up, and like rebooting Mythbusters is one of them.
Yeah, like you could reboot Mythbusters. You can one of them was bringing back, I think, an anime, or just like reviving
Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun.
That's what it was. Yeah, like that stuff is just, it's hilarious, but it's also a reminder that, like, yeah, once you've spent all the money that you have on things that are pressing, like actual serious matters that require some degree of monetary support, like, you've run out of things to spend money on. Like, I don't know, I'll support some indie games, and you've still got a stupid amount of money. Like, I think even if you finish this game, like, get one of the endings anyways, you still have like $10 billion.
You can't. So there's
you've just done the stupidest crap.
There's a true ending to the game that I wasn't able to find any info on. And there are 3 secret endings that you can get if you manage to spend all of his money. And there's a certain order of spending that you have to do before a certain point in the game in order to get those. And the three endings, I'm not going to spoil them because those are like, you should go and play this game. But the 3 endings like lean more into the comedy, but also still say some pretty good shit about capitalism. But it is possible. You just have to do very specific things.
Oh no, yeah, you can spend all of his money, but I got some of the endings. They're, to get them, it's very specifically set up so that you get $0.
Yeah.
But just like by spending the money, you can't outspend
playing
Jeff Bezos' income.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. Yeah, to think that he could never do that. Like, that's why Bill Gates has so much money.
There's even an ending where you get more money.
Yeah. Yep.
Somebody gives you money, and
not just somebody, a whole group of people paying your legal expenses.
That's right. It's the fucking GoFundMe ending. That's right.
Yep. And they pay you exactly as much money as you started.
It's fucked up.
Oh
God.
And that's, you know, there's just so many good bits of commentary in this, not just on capitalism, but on that as well as on the sort of cancel culture, I guess is the thing that's sort of getting at, and that people who fall from grace because they made a really, really fucking bad decision and deserve to fall from grace, can prop themselves up on the support of people who think they deserve it just because they were rich and famous and did things that they liked. You know, it's Jeff Bezos. It's a lot of YouTubers. It's most recently, Pro Jared, just getting a ton of money for coming back from all that stuff. I don't want to get into the specifics of any of those situations.
I'm mad about some other shit. I don't want to be mad about that too.
Right. But my point is that, like, that's discussed in this game as well, that, you know, people go through those sorts of things. They go and they fall from grace, or they see a lot of their success disappear overnight, and rightfully so. But people will support that. It doesn't really matter what they did. It's just that they liked them, or they feel like they're supposed to. The right people say them the things that they need to hear so that they feel willing to, like, give them money.
It really comes down to feeling like, fuck, I'm getting into it. All right, so like the Pro Jared shit. Like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago at this point, he had a stream where he was just sitting in a room talking to people from chat, talking about how much money they were giving him, essentially. And, like, he was getting a lot of fucking money on this stream where he was, like, the whole premise behind it was that we were lied to or some shit like that.
Well, so the whole premise was actually that it was his birthday.
Really?
Yeah. But also that video went up, like, the day before or
yeah,
something. I'm pretty sure it was his birthday
like
stream.
That.
But if you, for whatever reason, don't know the whole Pro Jared situation, basically, his ex-wife now, I guess at this point, was tweeting about him being abusive towards her. He countered back by saying she was abusive towards him. With that situation came to light some information regarding him accepting and sending nudes of himself and fans sending nudes of themselves to him, including probably some underage fans sending that to him as well, and everything involving that, and he made a video coming out saying that wasn't all necessarily true. He proved it wrong. About 55-minute long video. Whether or not you think that two people being proved wrong proves everyone wrong, that's up to you, but you can go watch that, check that out. But yeah, he had the stream just after that on his birthday. I believe it was his birthday. And he just made a ton of money for people supporting him, asking for his help. He started a petition looking for people to sign to get his D&D live stream, I think is what it was back. He's just, yeah, that whole thing.
God,
a lot of stuff.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Why? I was talking to you about this earlier, Jesse. Why can't gamers be more like the TTRPG community? Fuck. You know what happened when Zach Ass News happened? Everybody fucking cut ties with him immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to be fair, tabletop RPG players are all, like, old people. Like, you know what I mean.
I'm
like,
not old. I'm 27.
Look, gamers are, like, 14.
That is true. You know what?
Average.
If you're comparing them, yeah. Fuck. Anyways, you are Jeff Bezos. It's a good game.
Very good game. That comments on a lot of good things, including things that happened recently that I can relate
makes
to.
It
YouTubers,
really makes you get. It's crazy how, like, a game about the richest person in the world, like, gets us talking about some other smaller scale bullshit that still sucks just as much.
Right. Yeah.
Fuck. It's a good game.
You know, it's quality. I like it a lot. It's really good. You know what I don't like? Billionaires. Boom.
Boom. Got him.
Vote Bernie Sanders. 2020.
And with that, we will take a quick little break.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Hey Jesse, you know what's great about capitalism?
Nothing.
True, but people can give us money. So shouts out to our patrons for participating in the free market, not of ideas, and giving us money. It helps a lot, and you're all great. Shouts out to David Snotter, Amacy, Mark B. Writing, Puking Goombas, Steve Z, and Storm Hughes. Your support means a lot, and it helps us do this thing that we do.
Yeah, if you'd like to join that list of definite real capitalists, feel free to go to patreon.com/IndieBytesYT. Join the movement today. Become a capitalist. We're kidding. Don't. That's not how it works.
Become a capitalist. Just help us make good stuff, please. Thanks. Okay, so welcome back. You have a good break, Jesse?
Yeah, no, it was great. We
Sat right
we
here.
had some laughs, we had some good times. I went out, got a coffee, came back. It's a good time. Yeah, I didn't do any of that. It was like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, we sat right there.
We did the ad thing.
We just did that thing.
it,
Just did it just now. No rehearsal, all live.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I don't know if you could tell.
We're professional.
Yeah. So, like we said at the start of this, You Are Jeff Bezos is a Twine game. We explained that, hyperlink, clicky click.
It's a choose
It
your
is
own adventure
text.
thing in your browser.
Choose your own adventure thing. Exactly. But it's also a tool that's just really useful for mapping out stories, whether those be branching narratives or narratives that just have a lot of different pieces to them. Recently, it was used in the creation of the story for Black Mirror, the Bandersnatch sort of interactive movie show sort of thing on Netflix by Charlie Brooker. He did all the story for that ahead of time in Twine. It is a choose your own adventure sort of thing, so that makes a lot of sense.
Quick interjection. What did you think of that?
I actually haven't been able to play that
Oh
yet.
fuck, dude! I like it. Question mark?
I've heard it's okay.
It's
I've heard
okay.
it's pretty good.
It's one of those things that's okay, but it's enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love Black Mirror. I've seen every single episode. It's a fantastic show. It is very technology bad, but it does it in a way where it's not obnoxious, and I think it's really interesting. I'm excited to play Bandersnatch when I get a chance to do that. So, I'm definitely I'm interested. And the fact that you say it's good means, or at least okay, that has me even more excited.
Yes.
But yeah, that Twine was used in the creation of that. But there are loads of just great Twine games. I mean, Depression Quest comes to mind right away.
That was like one of the first big forerunners of it. Like when I think about Twine, that's kind of what comes to mind.
Yeah, but unfortunately, when I think about, I don't know if you have the same thing, but unfortunately, the reason I think about that isn't exactly good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of great memories attached to the reason that I attach the word Twine to Depression Quest.
That is true, but I have gone back and played it since, and it's actually pretty okay.
It is actually great. Yeah, I played it when the whole controversy started. I had no idea what it was. Then this was back when I was, what's the word I want to use?
Shitty?
A stupid asshole, yeah. And, I was attached to it quite a bit because I guess I was depressed at the time. Like, I felt it on a legitimate level. There's times where you want to click things, but you, physically literally can't, and that's what it feels
pretty
like.
Cool.
And it's just it does really cool things with the Twine system. Yeah.
That's what we call ludonarrative harmony. Got him. Anyways, there's a couple other cool games that you have written down here.
Yeah.
Tell me a little about them.
Sure. So I don't know if you've played Queers in Love at the End of the World.
I've seen it around, haven't played it yet.
Right. It's like 5 seconds long. You should totally play it. I'm going to explain it, but it feels interesting, I guess, is a good way of putting it. But it is really, really cool. It's a game where it's the end of the world. You're a queer couple in love. You're together, and you choose what you do in your last moments, and the game lasts 10 seconds. That's all you get. 10 seconds to read through everything, 10 seconds to click whatever you want to click, and the timer doesn't stop. Like, it's not like each click is a second. Time is counting down in real time.
I'm actually,
you have to make your clicks.
I open it up as
Play
soon
it right
as you
now.
say, yeah. This is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen done with Twine.
It's a really good idea. Like,
go play this
Twine,
game.
Seriously, if you're listening right now, you should play while we're talking, because I'm just going to explain it. And in the time it'll take me, I will not even be done talking, and you'll have played it and understand
You'll have
why
played
it's so
it a few
interesting.
times. Like, it's so...
Probably.
This is really fucking good.
Like, it's just great that the interactivity of that game and the fact that it's a computerized system allows for it to do something that no choose your own adventure book could do, no film could do, and really no traditional game I think could really pull off. I mean, could you imagine buying a game and it's only 10 seconds long and you hit the end screen? Like, yeah, there's games like Minute, but they have design elements in them that allow you to play for longer than a minute. It's just,
Yeah.
you only are alive for 60 seconds or whatever. Like, this game is just so it's so cool. Like, what a neat idea for a text-based game like that.
Very good. Very, very. Go play it right the fuck now. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's really cool. Like, it's 10 seconds. Check it out. It's great.
On the complete opposite end of the seriousness spectrum, there's a game called Who Stole My Bone? and it is one of the most adorable little pieces of Twine comedy I think I've ever seen.
Oh, could you describe that? I haven't played that yet.
Who Stole My Bone is a game where you take on the role of the friend of a dog who is trying to figure out who stole their bone. You talk to characters including a cat, a sock puppet, and a stuffed bear, and you try and shake them down. And it's really fucking adorable and hilarious because it goes some places you wouldn't expect. Don't play this game with your kids.
Oh boy, okay.
Not in the sex way, but in the swears way. There's some swears in there.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying.
You're welcome.
There's another one. That sounds really interesting, by the way.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, I love good comedy ones like that. You know, they're really... Obviously, the writing is in the forefront with these sorts of things. But, yeah, funny ones, man. There's lots of ones about feelings and sadness and heavy stuff. So it's nice to hear that there's some good funny ones out there, for sure.
I remember playing... I don't remember what it was called, but I played one where you, like, summoned and then became a demon.
Nice.
That's kind of cool.
That's almost Skell-IT-ons.
Not even close.
By the way, folks.
I make tabletop games, not video games. We'll talk about that later.
Anyways, another Twine game, by the way, if you're looking for a great recommendation, if you want to feel some feels, on my list is all sad ones. But Woe Begone is in the same vein as Depression Quest. It does cool things with the web browser. It doesn't do anything crazy. It doesn't do any like physics stuff, and it doesn't do any like bizarre sort of weird visual things, but it uses dialogue prompts to ask you questions and get answers from you. You don't even have to answer it, but the questions that ask almost make you want to answer.
I opened this one too, and right off the bat, the first question is or not even a question. It's a statement. You're not particularly special, and it has a text box, and it says okay and cancel, and fuck.
Yeah, and there's something about just that dialogue option. Just the okay and the cancel. There is no other choice. Either you accept it or you just, like, you accept it and you embrace it or you move on. Like, there is no other, like, that is just so, man. Like, that, I can't even put to words how cool that is, you know? It's an element of just web browser stuff. Like, just a thing that you regularly interact, well, not anymore, but used to regularly interact with. And just, it takes that, and it's like, hey, this is a game mechanic now. What if you ever feel stuff before? Let me know.
I try not to.
Man, yeah. Twine is just it gives you a ton of space to do creative things because you're not limited by your ability to draw or your ability to make cool sound effects or music or design like an action sequence that feels really good. You know, you don't have to do the in-between stuff.
It's purely writing.
Exactly, yeah. It's just really good writing, but you still get to have that degree of player interaction. You still get to do things with the people that are playing it or reading it or whatever word you want to use, or twining it. I coined that.
Nope. Veto.
You don't like twining it?
Veto.
Okay. But yeah, like it just gives you the opportunity space as a creator to do something interactive without being bogged down by the traditional interactive media. Like, you don't have to do all the extra stuff. You just do the parts of it that you're interested in. I love that. You know, that's so good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you for Twine. Thank you for existing.
Thank you.
And what's the other system like that? Like Twine? I think the 80 Days developers made it.
Don't know.
Is it
alternatives to Twine?
Is it Inkle?
There's a lot. There's a lot of alternatives.
Is the
to
first
Twine.
one Inkle?
No, there's a lot. There's a lot. Squiffy, Daedalus, Writers Cafe. There's a lot. Lots.
Okay, the one I was thinking of in particular was from the 80 Days developers, the people who made Inkle, recently Heaven's Vault. If you haven't played that, it's awesome. Sorcery as well, really great series of sort of choose your own adventure games. But they made a scripting language called Ink, just called Ink. And it is super powerful. It was used for 80 Days, Heaven's Vault, and Sorcery.
Yeah. I've heard of this. Okay.
Yeah. So there's lots of great things like this, you know, that you can use not just for these games that are very text-based, but I mean, in the case of 80 Days and Heaven's Vault, that are still traditional games, but use these frameworks as ways of formatting their stories.
It's good shit.
Yeah, I really appreciate this stuff, man. Everyone making all these free, cool things for people to make stuff with. That's dope as hell. Shout outs.
It's dope as dope.
Yeah.
Video games may be bad, but at least writing is good.
Yeah. No, video games are great, man.
Video games.
I almost got through that.
Video games are good.
Yeah. I very much like the people that make them, mostly.
I think that's what it is.
mostly.
The people who make video games are good.
Yeah, there we go. Play them, not so much. I play them. I suck.
Anyways, so you have a whole lot of shit written up here for Amazon stuff, Amazon Union
So yeah,
stuff. Did
we've
you want to
spent some
dive into
time.
this?
We've talked about the video game. We've talked about the Bezos man and why capitalism is badism and why money bad also. But I think it's time to talk serious. Talk about where he got his money from. And I don't mean from the company that he owns. I mean from the people who created that wealth for him. Over the last couple of years, Amazon's kind of been at the forefront of these anti-union attacks.
Anti-union.
These anti-union attacks on their employees who are very, very poorly treated. There are some who came out around 2017, 2018, stating that they don't get long enough bathroom breaks. They are very often urinating in bottles. They don't have proper AC during the summer, which, if you can imagine, in a warehouse environment is insane. I work now in a retail space. Our retail space in the back, I mean, it's not that big. Our warehouse area it's fairly small, but we are working entirely in refrigerated stuff, and it still gets hot in there just because we're moving around a lot, and there's so much physicality to it. So I can't even imagine what these people go through, moving all the stuff you have to move, the hours they work, like, or 10 hour, like, okay, they were hiring in our area for people to work full-time 4 days a week for 10 hours. The working there is so challenging that they give you vouchers for shoes. So you can get free shoes because you're going to wear them out. It's just insane. Like, obviously everyone wears other shoes at a job, but like they give you these shoes right away because you're always walking for 10 hours pretty much. You're always on your feet. And you get breaks, but like,
do you know this like, I don't know how much this matters, but like, are they good shoes even?
I think they're $100 vouchers for shoes.
Okay, there's actually like, there are, just from walking around, if you don't have the right shoes, there's a condition that you can get called plantar fasciitis. And it's essentially where there's a tendon that runs along the bottom of your foot and like kind of through the heel. It essentially gets like worn out and pulled too tight, and it doesn't get a chance to rest, and it doesn't have enough support. And so like without a doubt, the people who are working in these warehouses like for sure fucking have it, because I have it just from walking like a couple of days without arch support, right? Like,
Yeah.
Shoes are important, and it's okay that they get free shoes, but like, fuck, that's huge.
Yeah, the fact that they're aware of that it's that bad.
And
I don't know if you
not
get
like
a free one
changed
all
their
the
shit.
time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure you just get it for the first pair.
Fuck off, Amazon. You own shoes. You make them.
Yeah, like, well, they make I don't know if they make everything, but they definitely distribute it. That's for sure.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Santa makes the
Well,
toys.
so-
He distributes the toys.
Santa seized the means of production.
Hell yeah.
Santa's definitely anti-capitalist. No, he's not.
Oh,
he
sure. Oh.
he works for the Coca-Cola Corporation. So Amazon.
No, the Coca-Cola Corporation owns him. That's different.
Is it though? Or I guess that's the same thing. I don't know. Whatever. Either way,
I don't know. Anyways.
he needs to break free from the capitalist binds of the Coca-Cola Corporation.
Do you think
Fanta's not
Santa's
even that
elves
good.
have a union?
The elves need to unionize. We stand with you, elves. Hashtag elf workers unite. So
Yeah.
the so obviously working conditions terrible at Amazon, both at the warehouses and for people who work at their retail stores. Amazon purchased Whole Foods, the retail giant, for $13.7 billion in 2017. And just about a year later, the workers launched a union group called Whole Worker. And they were doing a lot to sort of start a union because, I mean, Amazon started just steamrolling them, changing their rules, changing how hours work. The point is, these people were trying to unionize, and Amazon started having videos go out to trainers, specifically for managers, that would train them on how to deal with and discourage, specifically, labor organizing efforts. So if you had people in the workplace that were talking about it.
Good old union busting.
Yeah, gotta love breaking the law. Obviously, it's Amazon. If they broke the law, they would just change the law. They have that money.
The law applies differently to wealthy companies.
The law applies differently to rich white men. What a good game.
True. Such a good game. That's a direct fucking quote from the game.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's all this sort of union busting going on in Amazon, and it's funny because You Are Jeff Bezos, the game, obviously, is very adamant, and it's very vocal about the fact that the rich control what gets done. The rich get to pick and choose, right? Like, if you choose to solve the water shortage in Flint, Michigan, which, if you didn't pick to do that, I don't know what's wrong with you. But if you pick it, like, there's a little blurb that comes up with it, like all your choices. But there's also a little thing at the bottom. It's just like, how the fuck did nobody already do this?
It takes an obscenely low amount of money considering everything going on.
Yeah, it's like $55 million. I think Jeff Bezos will get that in like a month. It's insane. But the bigger point, I think, with that is that all of this power comes from the rich and the wealthy and the people who have taken the work and the sweat off of people's brow so that they could pay for their own nonsense, so that they can have some degree of power over them. It's crazy. But at the same time, these people so strongly fear the concept of everyone banding together and standing against them. And that's just a great reminder. Like, obviously union busting's awful, but the fact that they do it says something. It says that they know how powerful unions are and how powerful the people that work for them truly are when they band together.
Yep. I nothing to add, bud. You're on it. Keep going.
Obviously, with all of this stuff going on at Amazon, with the unions, specifically with the people being mistreated, with people standing with them, right? All of this stuff is so important as a reminder, not just for workers, but for people in general. Like, if you want something to change, banding together is the way to do that. We can't rely on philanthropic billionaires to save the world, because they're not gonna. Even, Bill Gates solves polio or whatever. I don't know. There's a tweet going around where someone was, quote, they screenshotted Bernie Sanders saying billionaires shouldn't exist. And they were like, oh, wow, what about Bill Gates? He solved polio and malaria and all that. And it's like, yeah, he did. But, we could have solved that, right? Like, it's not like Bill Gates went there and, like, discovered the cure. He just spent his money on people that
do
did
it himself. Yeah.
Like, if his wealth wasn't just for him, we would have solved it way earlier. He didn't spend all of his money doing that. He spent, like, a pretty small percentage of his money doing that. Like, same with Warren Buffett. People are like, oh, what a good guy, dude. He lives in, like, a $500,000 house, and he has all this money. He uses it on charities and shit. And it's like, no, dude. Like, because he gets to pick and choose what we deal with. Even in this game, like, you get to pick and choose what is worth dealing with. If you agree with it, or you think it needs to be done, or it's a pressing matter, like, you're the one making those decisions. And these capitalists are sitting there with all of this money, and we have to wait. We have to wait on their beck and call. And one day, maybe they'll do the thing that we want. One day, maybe they'll give the people in Flint, Michigan their water back. And, maybe one day they'll pay for a bunch of teachers so that our students can be trained at Amazon University. Like, maybe one day, they'll do all these nice things, and then we all get to walk around with stickers on our shirts that say we work for this company. That shit fucking terrifies me. It should terrify everybody, and the people who are fighting against them, the people who are organizing, who are coming together to stand against these people who just have control over everything, and saying to them, you can't have control over us, not anymore. They should be fucking lauded. We should be taking them in the streets and carrying them on our shoulders, man. These people are heroes. Seriously.
Yeah.
Real shit.
Man, I really wish that I could add anything onto that, but you said it so wholly and completely that like you fucking got it, dude, in one, as per goddamn usual. 100% fucking true and agree. Like it's fucked. Full stop. 55 million, by the way. $55 million to fix the Flint water crisis.
I'm fucking heated. Yeah.
It's like less than a quarter.
Fucking nothing.
Less than a quarter of his wealth. Fucking nothing. Pennies.
What is
It's
it?
like $100
the
for
cost
you and me.
the cost of a SpaceX rocket or some shit? Get on it, Elon Musk.
Less. It's less than the cost of a SpaceX rocket.
Come on, Grimes. Where you at? Whisper in his ear.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's fucked up. Fucked.
Help a worker out. One more thing I
Holy
wanted to
shit,
mention. Oh, sorry.
I was we're talking about unions. I was gonna get mad about the whole Kickstarter thing.
Yeah, please.
So fucking real quick. Kickstarter has been union busting, like full on. It fired the last news that I heard was that the three biggest organizers and proponents of the Kickstarter workers union were full on fired for, quote, just some reasons, pretty much. And like it's fully non-legitimate shit, but like they're in a right to work state, so whatever. The circumstances of it make it very, very clear that they are being union busted by Kickstarter. And I fucking stand with them, and so many other people do. And it is important to note that as of the release of this podcast, or the recording of this podcast, there's not like a picket line or anything like that. Like what I think is so incredible about what these guys are doing is that they're organizing the workers while still saying these creators need to be supported. They're not trying to stop creators from getting their projects funded. They're just trying to fix Kickstarter's employment bullshit, which I think is I think that that's a really fantastic thing to do. And not when there is a protest, when there is a union, or when there is anything like that, you need to make sure to look up whether or not there is a picket, essentially. Nobody wants to be a fucking scab.
Right.
So pay attention to the people who are organizing the union and the people who are doing the protesting, because if there is, you obviously don't want to, right? Like there was the whole Amazon day where everyone was like, no, this is the picket line. We're not going to cross it. Fuck you. And I just think that it's really incredible that they are doing it the way that they are doing it.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Like, there's only so many ways you can do it.
Support creators.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah. Like, in the case of Kickstarter, yeah, like, or with Patreon, like, obviously that doesn't happen. Maybe it will. Probably not. But with those sorts of things where, like, they can only do so much, I think, to make themselves heard without undermining the income of other people. Like creators, especially, I think people at Kickstarter know how much they rely on that sort of income, how much they rely on the money from other people. Not even just the money, but the advertising that comes from it. So unfortunately, they have to protest Kickstarter and say, don't put your project on here. And they're hoping that other creators will, to some extent, go to other places, go to GoFundMe. I don't know why you would do that for a game, or go to Indiegogo, or
that's the thing
else.
is that these Kickstarter protesters, like the workers, are saying there is no picket. Put your work on here, and supporters support the work that is on here. At least at this stage, that's what. They're doing.
Totally. But that's fine. But they still also want people to not do that. Right? Like, they do want people to go on Kickstarter, but they would rather them go somewhere else.
I don't know what their official stance is on it, so I don't want to, like, comment on it and say something incorrect. But, I mean, like, I think I get what you mean. Like, yeah, given the scenario. Anyways, yeah, no, like, I get what you mean. And, like, yeah, if I were in their shoes, I would just say, hey, maybe go somewhere else for now. But Kickstarter is a big commitment, and, like, crowdfunding
totally. It's cool that they're not saying it. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I was saying, it is an advertising platform just as much as it is a support platform. And when your name's big on Kickstarter, it's big on the internet, and that's a huge deal. Yeah, that's another big part of it for sure. Especially picketing in an age where a lot of people who need to picket are working jobs where realistically, what does picketing mean? Like if you can't picket your office, no one cares. It's in Silicon Valley. It's not out of the way. It's not a Walmart. It's not, It's not a Big Lots or whatever. Yeah, it's just, it's strange. It's bizarre, but I guess that's how things go now. And it's going to be interesting seeing how time goes on as more and more people are phased out of retail jobs and more people are, well, no job replacements for that, but as things go on, what does picketing look like?
There's a job there's a job replacement for retail, and it's called help desk.
Well, no, but less. There's going to be way fewer workers at that sort of thing. My point is just that as we have fewer brick and mortar stores, as we have fewer places where people can picket, what is the future going to look like for people that want to picket?
Exactly. It's going to be interesting to see, and I can't wait for our cyberpunk dystopia. Oh, wait, we're in one!
Oh.
Great.
Good and normal.
I'm real mad, Jesse. Just
Same.
fucking furious. Did you have anything else? You want to go on to questions?
No, that's pretty much it. I don't know.
All right.
Let's get into it.
Let's just scoot on. Don't worry. I feel like we're gonna be talking a lot more because this question from Jared, aka The Playing Field, is very fucking good. So let me read this whole thing and then we'll go back for the questions. So Jared says, mass media on the whole tends to promote a pro-capitalist message, even if the creators of these works don't intend to, largely because getting funding requires appealing to the sources of wealth who would not back works that espouse a viewpoint that contradicts their own views. Whew. Additionally, people often mention watching or playing certain pieces of media in order to relax, but often this means they're engaging with something that is pro-capitalist uncritically. You Are Jeff Bezos isn't exactly a, quote, hard game to play, but I don't think it's something that someone would play to unwind at the end of the day. Because of this, do you think that more and more artists in all media have a responsibility to make more difficult or confrontational art that explicitly talks about capitalism in order to spur people to political action? And do you think that turn off my brain types of art can actually dampen that kind of impetus? Also, are you guys hiring? So, holy fuck, Jared, I fucking love this.
Great question.
It's so fucking amazing, and I honestly expect no less from Jared, The Playing Field.
Yeah, king of unions.
King of unions. So, king of
only
unions.
Good Jared. That's what
the only good Jared.
Only good Jared.
So we're gonna start at the top. Do you think that more and more artists in all media have a responsibility to make more difficult or confrontational art about capitalism to spur political action? And I have been talking for a while, so I'm going to let you go first.
Sure. So responsibility is tough because I don't want to say anyone is responsible for doing that sort of stuff, but I do definitely think that if artists have a position where they have a voice that can be heard by a lot of people, they should be, if they agree, they should be trying to at least weave those messages in. And we have seen it more and more. Not even just more and more, but we've kind of just seen it over time. SpongeBob had that whole episode of striking against the Krusty Krab that everyone likes to bring up when they're talking about this sort of stuff. But, I think, yeah, if someone agrees with that philosophy that capitalism bad, then they should do what they can to help other people understand why. Not just people having a lot of money when I don't have any isn't good, because I feel like everyone thinks that's bad, but just other elements of it, the mistreatment of workers, the innate sense of requiring rich people to do things for everyone else, all the stuff we've talked about through the entirety of this podcast so far. Like, that stuff is important to get across. I'm sure you agree.
Yeah. I was pretty much going to say, yeah, like responsibility is a strong word. I don't think that anybody is responsible, or like it needs to be everybody making these things, because just not everybody has, I want to say, the capacity to do it, but that sounds mean. But that's like the word that comes to mind. Not everybody has the impulse or the pull or the desire to create something so difficult and confrontational.
And it's hard.
I
want to jump off.
Some people
something
just
you
want to make
there.
shit. Yeah, go for
I
it.
just want to jump off what you were saying about it being like the capacity. I know you don't mean that in that like they're not good enough to write something like that. You mean
what
that
I mean
in
is
that,
like they don't have the type of like. Go ahead.
I think what you're getting at like a base level is that they don't have the means to do it. When you make something that's critical of capitalism, when you make something that's critical of bosses, of millionaires, of billionaires, you're essentially cutting off like income streams. You know, I'm okay. I'm part of a union right now. Like, I'm all right. You know, if my boss hears this, he can't fire me. But there are people who want to make games like you are, Jeff Bezos, and they just like won't be able to get work because of that. Or they'll make art like, you know, art that's critical of capitalism, just anything. You know, the critical of people who mistreat workers, or people who are billionaires or millionaires or whatever. Like I said, people who are bosses, people who don't support co-ops, people who union bust, anything like that. If you make stuff that's critical like that, then you are cutting off your ability to find work. So the people who have the ability to do this stuff are going to be the people that are already doing pretty okay, who could deal with the loss of work for a good amount of time, right?
Or who it makes no difference to.
Or exactly,
Or
yeah.
who, you know, who just don't care if it does that, you know? Chris made this as a joke because they wanted to, right?
Yeah.
Like that's an example. And I think that telling anybody that they have the responsibility to do something, like you should be doing this, you need to do this, it's your responsibility to do this as a creator. That I don't like how that feels. It feels it feels kind of shitty. Let people make what they want to make. But I do agree that yes, like if I were to go and make I am making a game that's kind of anti-corporate, right? Like it's when you can, you should try to. But I don't think it's anybody's responsibility.
Yeah. Not that that's a bad question, Jared. That's a great question.
Yeah. It's I get what you mean. I don't think it's an obligation, I think is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
So next up, he asks, do you think that turn off my brain types of art can actually dampen that kind of impetus? And I don't know. I think everybody needs to unwind. We can't be all revolution all the time,
No
right?
such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism. Like, you can't, you know.
This is true.
You need your fun. You need your dumb. You need your Call of Duties. You need your, you know, whatever. You need your Destiny 2s. You need your fucking controls. That's actually not a good example. You need your, like, stupid games that are dumb and are just fun to play. You need your Smash Bros.
You need your podcast game.
You need your stupid, you need your Factorias. You need your, like, you know, your games that maybe at times are even pro-capitalist. You know, you need to play games like that.
You need games that are dealing with other sorts of things, or games that are just wholly enveloping experiences. # Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that game.
Like, you need experiences, you need games, you need movies, you need music, you need stuff that's just fun, you know? And I do think that at times that stuff feeds into the capitalist narrative, right? Of like, just consume, enjoy, have fun. But, you know, I think to some extent...
It's a health thing.
Exactly, yeah. It's just a mental health thing. Like, we're at a point in time right now where we can't all be consuming ethically. Like, if you know, always try to make sure you're doing things and making choices that are ethical to your own beliefs all the time, you're going to be wasting all your time just making sure you're making the right choices before you even get the time or money to make those choices.
I also think that you'll miss out on some fantastic pieces of work.
Totally, yeah.
And I mean, sometimes you got to do that, right? Sometimes you disagree with something and you have to miss out on something fantastic, and that's okay. That's a part of the whole thing, and I think that it's totally valid and totally good to say, you know what, I disagree with the practices of this company. I'm not going to be buying their thing. But you, as it, not just within games, but as humans, as people who live in an extremely fucking stressful and difficult time for a lot of people, you kind of just need to sometimes bite the bullet and enjoy something stupid.
Yeah. And I don't think those things get in the way of, like, I think the basis of the question, I don't think it really gets in the way of those other kinds of art that are, that have things to say about capitalism, that are critical of it. Yeah, like I said, they do kind of feed into that consumerism. They do kind of get in the way of maybe what that message is trying to get across. And at times, those larger pieces, something like Avengers Endgame, would trounce anything that's just critical of capitalism, even if it's innate or if it's a metaphor or anything like that. But it's, I think right now we just don't have the ability to do that properly. People need their Avengers Endgames. They need their, whatever the new Batman movie is going to be called, They need those stupid things before they can reach a point where they're more accepting of those kinds of pieces. I think ultimately those dumb kind of turn off my brain types of art would benefit from having little pieces of that, by getting little tidbits of information that is critical of capitalism within them, within their lore, within their messages, within their stories, metaphorical things, meta commentary things, just small things like that to work people up to that point. If anything, we're going to rely on those turn off my brain kinds of arts, exactly, to be gateways for the actual, like, legitimately critical pieces of art. Like that's what it's going to end up being.
I'm sorry, son. You can't play the new Call of Duty. Why, Dad? It's a gateway to anti-capitalism. Sorry. Shit.
No.
I guess I'll go play Fortnite.
You know that game's gonna be pro-imperialist. Come on.
100%. No, it's not political, Jesse.
I know. Oh, right. My bad. I keep forgetting. Sorry.
And he also asked if we're hiring, and I already DM'd you the answer to this, Jared. But yes, we're hiring, but it's for unpaid labor.
Damn. Love to be Jeff Bezos.
Yep. I can get away with it.
When you close the game, you stop being Jeff Bezos. Like, it's okay. You can move on.
Oh, I think I need to call my bank and void a check. Whoops, I wrote a check for $540,000. So yeah, that's that.
Great question.
Good ass fucking question from Jared. Thank you so much. We've got one more here. Jesse, you want to field that?
You do not want to ask this question. So, we got a question from Chris Legman. Can you believe that? Whoa, that name sounds familiar. Is that the developer?
That's a fucking developer, homie.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And also, they work on Critical Distance, which is kind of cool, apparently, from what you have told me.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they still do. I don't know. I just read their Twitter bio. I don't know. But the question is, there you go. The question from Chris is, what gender do, I guess, we think they are and why? And, that's a good question. Just to be clear, before we move forward, we here at Indie Bytes Byte Club would never assume anyone's gender for any reason. We try to avoid that as well as we can. We always check pronouns in their bios if it's not there. We see if we can find any information. If we can't, then we just default to they. Pretty straightforward.
Well, honestly, I've reached out to a few people just to be like, hey, what pronouns,
Exactly.
What are your pronouns?
We're very careful about that sort of thing. Is the point that we're getting at here. The reason we're answering this question
because
the reason
we give a shit about it. We care.
Exactly. We give a hecking frig. The reason I push to answer this question, or at least I push to go along with this question, is because I think it's a really good point in that when you see these anti-capitalist messages, right? When you see this sort of stuff, it's interesting to see where people's brains go. Because, there's an answer to that question of what gender they identify as, right? Even if it's none.
Yeah.
There's an answer to it.
Yep. There's an answer. There is a true and correct answer to this.
Exactly. And the interesting part of that question is, where does our brain go and why does it go there?
Why does it go there? And I think it's it's fucking really good because, like you said, there are a shitload of ways that different people's brains get pulled when they ask a question like this, when they get asked a question like this. And especially within the context of what we're talking about here, like you said, like this big fuck off anti-capitalist game, right? What kind of people would be anti-capitalist? Surely. It kind of plays into that, and it really gets you thinking about why we think those things.
Yeah. And to be clear, we talked about this beforehand, and we both kind of came to the conclusion that we think, see, knowing nothing about the creator, other than that they made this game, and I guess work for Critical Distance, we both came to the conclusion that they're probably not male. And that's an interesting conclusion to come to, because we're both male.
I think so too. Yeah,
we both
You and
identify as
I
men.
are both cis males.
We don't
I
want
think so
to
too.
assume your gender. So we're probably not going to. And by probably I mean we're not going to, right?
Correct.
We're not going to. But we are going to say we don't think you would be you would identify as
We don't
male.
think you. Yeah, correct.
And
and
we're going to talk about why that.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the way of skirting around that really awkward question. Great question, though. So
Fantastic. It's great because
it's a really good question.
It's
I wish we were the
it's
kind
so
of people that could
off-catching.
just answer that.
We're not.
We're not.
But like it speaks to how like powerful of a question this is. How honestly, I freaked out a little bit. I was like, "Fuck! I don't know what to do about this. I don't know how to answer this without putting my foot in my mouth."
Well, so the thing
and
is,
I'm glad
your
that we
stupid
talked
simian
about it.
brain had an answer, right? You read that, and
Yes,
your
my
dumb
stupid
monkey brain was like, "Yes, I know," but like, your conscious front of your brain was like, "No, you don't. You stupid."
You stupid son of a bitch! Don't say nothing. Don't fucking
Yeah.
say nothing. so why
do we
think
Chris
that
is
they
not
are
male?
not
Yeah.
male? Yes, my impulse says something about the type of game that this is. The messaging behind it does not say, like, I don't know, like, let me specify, it's not a cis male. They could be trans male, totally, but there's just something about the way that this game approaches everything that it's going. It just seems like this a regular ass man would not. I don't know. I feel like I can't talk about this without shoving my foot in my mouth. Like I
think that's why it's such a good question, because
I think so too.
No matter what
but-
your answer is, you're gonna end up saying something that ultimately is a little, a little wrong, a little uncomfortable,
wrong in some way. But you think about video games and you think about the roles in video games that as a space men occupy. And that space is, like, when you envision it, that space is distinctly not this. That space is distinctly not the role of writing some Twine game, right? Like, that sounds shitty, and it kind of is, but, like, that's where the gut goes. But, I mean, they fucking do.
Oh, totally, yeah.
100% they do. And that's why it's so fucked up that my brain goes, oh, surely a cis man would not write this game. That's the shitty part of my brain talking.
Right.
I'm going to pass this over to you because I've been awkward enough.
Sure. So I think the reason that I think that Chris at least does not identify as a cis male, or is not a cis male, rather, doesn't identify as male, at least for me, is just that the content of capitalism, at least for the most part, and based on the commentary within this game, is a good thing for cis men, especially cis white men, but definitely for cis men. They benefit from capitalism more than really anyone else. Obviously, men of color, cis men of color, go through a lot greater disadvantages than white men of color. Or sorry, cis white men. White men of color. No. Cis white men benefit more than cis men of color. Jeez, that was a hard one to say there. And for whatever reason, when you see these sort of messages, my brain automatically thinks of groups that are harmed by capitalism, right? That are harmed by billionaires taking over so much of the world and owning so much of the wealth. Like, that's just where my brain goes. People who are critical of this stuff usually don't benefit from it, right? So at the very least, my brain thinks that this is not someone who would benefit from it, and cis white men, but cis men in particular, tend to benefit pretty greatly from this sort of thing. And that's just kind of where my brain went right away. That's my reasoning for it anyways. It just, I think people who are the most vocal about this stuff are the ones who are harmed by it the most. And that's just, it just doesn't happen to be cis men.
Yep. I agree with that, and I was trying to find the words for that, but my dumb fuck brain couldn't get them out. So there you go.
No, I mean that's pretty much what you said. I just, that's just my take on the idea that it has less to do with, at least for I guess us, it has less to do with the person's gender defining their own political beliefs, and more just, the situations and the experiences that they've gone through because of their gender that would lead me to believe that someone has those opinions. Like I'm half black, and Nevin, you are not. We still came to this. Definitely not.
I am full ass white.
Full ass white. Ass looks like Mr. Clean's head. Actually, he's a little tan. Whiter than that.
No, I'm not gonna say what just came to my mind. Anyways,
but I obviously have gone through some things that other cis men that I know, specifically white ones, haven't had to go through. But just I think that's a lot of why I think what I think. You've been through different economic situations that have led you to think what you think. There are loads of reasons why people wouldn't think those things. But if it was just because of gender, if I was just to come at it from the perspective of gender, that's where my brain would go. That's, I think, just the base level of it for us.
I fully agree.
So what
That's
gender
a
do we
big
think
ass
you are?
question.
Not male. I'm gonna say female. I'm gonna put that on the record. I'm gonna answer the question.
Non-binary.
Yeah. Okay. And those
Yeah,
are our
we
answers.
we answered the question, and
Am I wrong?
there you go.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, let us know. Please
or
cancel
don't.
me.
It's up to you. Whatever
Or
you want
no,
to do.
whatever. Yeah, it's your call.
Yeah,
I
totally.
am not your boss. I'm just some shithead with a podcast.
Yeah.
And if I were your boss, fuck capitalism, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Whew, okay. So we're going to move on to the outro. And do a little bit of last minute deciding on what next month's game is going to be. So here we go. So thanks for joining us for this month's episode of Byte Club? Byte Club.
You got
That's
this.
what we are.
There we go.
The vote for October's game is actually tied right now between Remnant from the Ashes and Penumbra Overture. So I'm just going to roll a d20 to decide what game is going to be because I'm a massive fucking nerd. So evens, and we're going to do Remnant, and odds, it's going to be Penumbra. Here goes. That's a 17. So we get to play Penumbra.
Oh, hell yeah. That's not $40.
Yeah.
That's great.
Exactly. Not $40. So I am going to take a picture of the result and tweet it probably as soon as we're done recording this. So those of you who saw me tweet something that just said, you'll understand when you're older. You know why now. Okay? Great. So Penumbra Overture is a freaking classic. It is honestly one of my favorites of the weird 2007-ish era of horror games. And it's actually from the team behind Amnesia: The Dark Descent. This is like one of their first games that they did. It is a first-person survival horror game with an emphasis on survival, problem solving, and not so much on the violence and gore side of things. So if you would like to vote for November's game, head on over to patreon.com/indiebytesyt to learn more. The choices for November's games are Creature in the Well, A Short Hike, and Blasphemous. One of those is pretty fitting for fall, I think. The other two, whatever.
Yeah, Blasphemous is definitely the fall one you're talking about. For sure.
Blasphemous is my favorite autumnal tradition.
Hey, by the way, real quick, if you're thinking of voting and you're thinking which game would be good, check them all out, obviously. But if you want my vote, Creature in the Well is a game where you're basically playing ping pong, but it's like a third-person action game. So vote for that. Thanks.
I'm honestly leaning towards A Short Hike because I need something charming and wholesome in my life.
Yeah, fair.
Especially after playing fucking Penumbra.
Yeah.
Jesus. I can't believe I'm going to fucking play this game again. I mean, great.
See, I've never played it before, so that'll be interesting.
Dude, you are in for some shit. Oh my god. I love this game a lot. Anyways, as always, we'll be talking about your questions about next month's game and chatting about them here on the podcast. So send them in as you come up with them, or when I ask for them on Twitter. You can email them to me at nevin@80bytes.com. You can use the contact form on the website, or, like I said, yell at me on Twitter. You can find Jesse on Twitter at GUARASCIA. Pronounce that how you will.
You know what? For our 1 year anniversary, Nevin, I'm going to say it for you. You can find Jesse on Twitter at Garasha.
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 I'm going to forget by next time we record this. I don't know why I can't pronounce your fucking name. God damn it. You said it.
Italian,
I asked you how it was said once, and you told me, and I fucking deleted that information.
It's fine. You've got it on record now. You can just always pull it up when you need it.
Yeah, I'll pitch shift that clip of your voice to sound like me. You can find a whole bunch of indie game related content on Twitter at IndieBytesYT, on YouTube as IndieBytes, and at IndieBytes.com. You can also find some of my own personal garbage at Fork20 on Twitter. That's all spelled out. An example of some of my personal garbage is I just released a game.
What's it about?
I released a tabletop RPG called Thou Hast Been Called Out. And it is about you and your friends trying to clear your names in high fantasy medieval settings. You have stats such as vibe and wig, and you gain beef or clout based on interactions with NPCs. The whole thing fits on a postcard, and it's free, or, pay what you want if you want to pay for it. Hashtag capitalism, here we go. And I'm working on some other stuff, but I won't talk about that right now. This episode's music is from the Human Resource Machine soundtrack by Kyle Gabler?
Gabler?
And you
Kyle,
can find it, the good Kyle, not that one. And you can find it at the Tomorrow Corporation website. There's going to be a link in the show notes. Thanks again for listening. We are looking very forward to getting your questions and crapping our pants while we play Penumbra Overture for Spooktober Spookoween.
Oh boy.
Happy fucking doing a year of this shit, Jesse.
Oh yeah, happy 1 year, man. I just want to say real quick, everyone listening, man, Nevin's really cool, and it's been great doing this for a whole year with them, and with you guys. If you've been listening for this is your first episode, you've been around for a year or a couple months, whatever it may be. Thanks for listening, and thanks for joining us as we play through some weird indie games, some cool indie games, some good indie games, some bad. Yeah, we haven't played a bad one yet, but play through.
We played a mediocre one, and that's like the worst it's gotten, which I think is a pretty fucking good track record.
That's good, yeah.
Thank you guys for man, thanks, Jesse. Once again, saying the shit that I wanted to say before I could say it. So thanks. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.